Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Rewind That. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Alright guys, today we are going to be going over the latest episode of Raising Kanan, Season 1, Episode number 9, called Loyal to the End. Alright, the episode starts off with Little Rob picking up Marvin in a van. Then we see Unique walking with his son in what looks like a movie theater parking lot, right? And of course, Neek's crew is close behind. So all of a sudden, Marvin comes through spraying, okay? And he's hitting Unique's car, but of course, nothing is penetrating because it's bulletproof. But honestly, guys, the glass did look like it would shatter if multiple bullets would have hit the same spots, okay? Anyway, I felt bad for Unique's son because he's just a baby, you know? And if Unique wanted do special things like go out with his kid and everything like that, then he should probably take him out of town or to the outskirts or something like that, you know, for safety purposes, especially when you got a war going on. Anyway, I appreciate Marvin's efforts, but it looks like he only hit one guy in Neek's crew. On top of that, he could have got himself killed because he was the only shooter, you know. He had nobody to cover him while Neek's crew was returning the fire. Next, Raq is at the hospital with Lou, and he hasn't woken up yet. So Raq is just talking to him and telling him that folks must have forgot who she is, and they about to remember me, and they about to know me, and all of this kind of stuff, right? Then Symphony knocks on the door, and he comes in, and I thought that Raq would be happy to see him, you know, but instead, she had a whole attitude, and Symphony was looking like, what I do now, you know? So they go to the hallway, and Symphony tells her that Kanan told him where she was, and Raq was like, of course he did. Then she said, if I needed you here, I would have called you myself. So Symphony tells Raq that he couldn't find her and got scared. That's how normal people feel when someone they care about just disappears. So long story short, guys, Raq takes a crap on this guy once again and tells him that what they had wasn't real. And what happened to her baby brother reminded her of who she was, because being with Symphony made her forget. So Symphony was like, I know who you are and I love who you are. Then Raq says, don't worry, you'll find some college hoes to screw soon enough. So Symphony was like, screw you, right? And as he was walking off, Raq was like, oh, finally some heart on this N-word. Never knew you had it in you. So Symphony turns around and says, tell Marvin that Tony can't be trusted. And that was the end of that, guys. And I do appreciate that Symphony does care about Raq enough to at least give her that last bit of information, because he could have been, you know, pissed off and been like, okay, well, I came here not just because I care for you, but I always wanted to let you know something very important, you know. So I'm glad that he didn't let his pride stop him from telling her that important information, okay? Anyway, I said this before, guys. Symphony, you better run for the hills, brother. Run for your life, because this is the second time this chick has given you an out, okay? Anything that happens if you go back is totally on you now. Anyway, before we move on, I just want to say that I think it made no sense for Raq to treat Symphony like that, okay? You know, she act like her messing around with him was the cause of what happened to Lulu. So, for instance, right, y'all remember the movie Poetic Justice, for all those who saw it, right? So remember the scene when Lucky finally gets to his cousin Khalil's neighborhood, only to find out that he was shot and killed? All right, so then Lucky turns around and blames Justice. He tells her that if he wasn't messing around with her, he would have been there in time to help his cousin. Well, that's how Raq is treating Symphony. You know, she's acting like the attempt on Lou's life took place while she was laid up with him or something like that, you know, when in fact, it was the total opposite. She was making business moves for her organization and even called Lou to pull off a hit moments before Worrell and the team got there. So I'm not understanding why she flipped on my man Symphony like that. Anyway, guys, next, Marvin is parked up in the van with Little Rob, and many of us already knew that this was coming and it had to happen, right? Marvin kills Little Rob for snitching on Kanan. Then Marvin gets out the van and sets it on fire. Next, Detective Howard shows up to the hospital just in time to see a transaction take place between a hospital employee and two of Neek's boys. The nurse gives the two dudes a bag of scrubs and IDs so they can get into the hospital to finish Lulu off. So as the two assailants make their way to Lulu's room, they find that Lou's bed was empty. And next thing you know, guys, Detective Howard comes right behind them with backup. And just like that, they were arrested, and so was that nurse. And by the way, I really hated the one guy's haircut, you know, with the high top. It just looked like a bad freaking wig. Anyway, next, Nicole's mother wants justice for what happened to Nicole. And to be honest, guys, I just really hate all the scenes with this lady in it, but I felt like it's important to mention because I think it's going to play out later on. So anyway, her mom is just a disgraceful bigot and a nasty woman, okay? I always hate watching scenes with people like this, like prejudiced folks. Anyway, her husband tries to calm her down, and he's telling her that they don't know if Nicole really got her drugs from Laverne. They don't even know if it was her first time taking drugs, okay? And to me, I feel like at least we could see that Nicole's father was being realistic about the situation. They ain't even know the daughter was gay. So how the heck you know that that was the first time that she was taking drugs? Anyway, so Nicole's mother tells Detective Burke that if they don't get her justice for Nicole's quote-unquote murder, she knows some powerful people that will, and those people will not allow something like this to happen to a family like ours. So we see that Nicole's death is probably going to bring more problems, guys, because her mother doesn't seem like she's going to let this go. Next, Detective Howard tells Raq that she's lucky he still smokes because he was able to foil the assassination attempt on her brother. Then he tells Raq that he's tired of waiting. He gave her multiple chances. He's even threatened her. But now it's over. I'm putting a warrant out for Kanan's arrest. Spafford is on notice, and they already know he's on the way, right? So if you don't tell him who he is to me, that's where he's going to end up. So Raq says, okay, if I do this for you, you got to stay out of my business and leave my people alone. I get a pass. Then she tells him to go screw with the tailor shop and get him out of my way. And by him, we already know she's talking about Neek. So Detective Howard tells her that she'll get a pass within reason. Then he tells her that he'll contact her with a date and time to meet up with Kanan. Then he warns her that if he peeps her or Marvin or anybody else but Kanan at that meet, they're going to get wet the freak up. And you could tell by the look on his face that he was very serious, guys. Even grown Kanan narrated and let us know that this was a desperate man, okay? And that's why she had to use Kanan to do the dirty work, right, guys? Because by sending someone else, she would have gotten them killed. Also, the messed up thing about what happened at the end is that this man just stops another attempt on your brother's life and you still went ahead with plans to kill him. Like, that was just crazy to me. It was just a stupid move also, guys. But we're going to talk more about that when we get to that scene. Next, it was confirmed that Detective Burke was the one who had the officers let Juke go in last week's episode. She was obviously following Juke in last week's episode, and she definitely was following her in this episode, okay? Because she rolled up on her while she was visiting Nicole's gravesite. It was also confirmed that Detective Burke is a lesbian as well, and it seemed like she was trying to share these things with Juke to get Juke to open up to her and eventually get some info out of her. Next, Kanan gets to the hospital, and his mom tells him that Lou was moved because some guys came to finish the job. And Kanan was like, "You for real?" And I was like, yeah, Kanan, that's the type of life y'all in. That's what it's all about. It's not a game, Anyway, when Raq tries to bring up the D-Wiz situation, Kanan tells her that he knows why she did it and she ain't got to explain, right? Then he tells Raq that he wants to help. I want to help Uncle Lou. I want to help you. Just let me know what I got to do. Next, Marvin gets to the hospital and meets up with Raq in the chapel, and he tells her that Unique's car really is bulletproof, but little Rob has been handled. So Raq says, I told you to stand down, Marvin. I didn't want you to go after Neek yet. Plus, if you're going to take the shot, you can't miss. So Marvin says, you forget I don't work for you no more, Raq. And even if I did, no one tells me how to defend my family, not even you. So Raq was like, well, while you was defending your family, two of Neek's dudes came up here to finish the job on Lulu. And that made Marvin more pissed. He was like, yo, Neek got to go right now. Anyway, guys, so this was my favorite scene in this episode because we got to see a different side of Marvin. He was able to say his piece and let Raq know that it doesn't feel good to take orders from his little sister. But he also admitted that she's better at it than he was. She thinks things he can't think. She sees things he doesn't see. But at the end of the day, he's still a man and needs his respect. He needs to be heard, right? And then he was like, when they come at my baby bro the way they did, they gonna hear me and nobody's gonna tell me to quiet down. He also reminded Raq that he was the one who raised her and Lulu when their parents were on their stuff, okay? He tells Raq that he would die for her and Lulu. And Raq says, and I would die for you too, Marvin. And I hope she meant it, guys, because I believed her, okay? And I also think that this is something that Marvin needed to hear, because just last week he was talking about how he don't think his siblings would hesitate killing him, you know? Anyway, another thing I loved about this scene was how Raq took a break from being the boss in that moment. And she just let her brother take his place, right? He made himself clear to her that when it comes to the family side of things, I'm going to do what I need to do. You have no say in my role as the big brother. Then Raq tells him that she needs him and can't do this without him. And once he agrees, she takes off that little sister hat and puts that boss hat right back on and tells Marvin to soldier up. Get them boys strapped and get back on them corners. Next, Detective Howard meets with his doctor and he lets her know that he definitely has a son. It's no longer a hypothetical question type of situation, right? And he's going to be meeting up with him tonight for the first time. So the doctor tells Detective Howard that he needs to get that transplant ASAP because he's only getting sicker by the day. And to me, guys, it looked like Detective Howard was kind of happy that he was finally meeting with Kanan. Some of y'all was trying to come at my neck in the comments, you know, during my jacket theory video, saying that Howard don't care about Kanan. He just wants the bone marrow transplant. And, you know, y'all can say that if you want, but how will we ever really know? You know what I'm saying? Of course, he wants a transplant, but I don't think that's all he wants. I feel like he does wish he would have known he had a son. I don't see him as the type of person that would have neglected his child or wouldn't have been in his life. That's just my opinion. That's what I see. Anyway, next, Marvin goes into Juke's room looking for a tape for Kanan to listen to, right? Because Kanan wanted him to play updated music. But he finds a video and pictures of Juke and Nicole, all right? And he was beyond pissed, guys. So Kanan gets a call from his mom and he leaves. And once Kanan is gone, Marvin watches Juke's video with Nicole and eventually starts tearing her room up, guys. So when Juke comes home, he confronts her and he's saying a lot of mean things, okay? And even when Juke tells Marvin that Nicole is dead, he still hits below the belt and tells her that that's what God does to chicks that violate his will. So Juke says, so what does that mean for you, Marvin? Because you ain't nothing but a violation. Then Marvin says, white girl got what she deserved. The world is a better place without her. So Juke does the ultimate act of disrespect, guys, and spits in her father's face. So Marvin smacks fire out that girl, right? Last week we saw Kanan get the fire smacked out of him. This week it was Juke's turn, okay? And he almost sent that girl flying. Then he stomps on the VHS of her and Nicole, and that made Juke really freaking angry, okay? And she attacks Marvin, throwing stuff at him, kicking him in the stomach, and every time Marvin threw her down somewhere, she kept coming at him. So he eventually started choking her out, guys. And to be honest, I was pretty disappointed in this scene because I wanted Marvin and Juke to eventually have a moment where they could be closer, you know? But after this, it's probably going to be even worse, at least for a while before it gets better, if it ever gets better, right? But anyway, Marvin finally stops choking Juke. You know, he had to come back to his senses because he kind of blacked out for a moment. Then he broke down because he obviously felt bad for what he was doing to his daughter, right? Now, I don't agree with Marvin choking Juke out like that, but that slap was well deserved, okay? You don't spit in your father's face. I don't care how you feel about him. Next, Raq gives Kanan some lessons on how to shoot a gun. She tells him not to mess with guns like Tech 9s and Uzis and Mac 10s because they're BS and they jam and don't aim right. She tells Kanan that a Glock gets the job done and it's for real work. She also tells him that during a hit, you hit the person twice in the heart and once in the head. Then she starts gassing Kanan's head up, guys, telling him that he was right the whole time about being in the game and she was lying to herself because she just didn't want to see it, right? She even repeats the words Unique spoke to her earlier in the season, that Kanan was in the game before he was in it, right? So long story short, guys, she tells Kanan that she needs him to kill a man that wants to take everything from them. Meanwhile, Neek is telling his crew that they are at war and he don't care how old the person is. If they're down with Raq, they gotta go. Next, Juke tells Detective Burke that 5-0 hit Unique's re-up, so now he's gonna hit you. So Detective Burke wants to know how Juke knows this, okay? And of course, Juke didn't say. She just tells Burke that she doesn't want anyone else to get hurt. And I don't think Juke is going to give Burke anything valuable, guys, okay? I think she's just taking her aunt's advice when she said that cops are good friends to have. Which brings us to our final scene. Kanan meets up with Detective Howard, and he's wearing Unique's jacket. And if you guys watch my theory video, you will remember that I said that the only thing I could see happening with this jacket is that Lou was going to wear it while he went to kill Howard, right? And of course, frame Unique in the process, killing two birds with one stone. But now that Lou is recovering in the hospital, someone else had to do it. And Raq chose her son, okay? And of course, Detective Howard noticed that Kanan was wearing Unique's jacket because he saw it before, right? But anyway, guys, Kanan shoots Howard, and in my opinion, it was really messed up, all right? I don't see why she couldn't just tell Kanan the truth. Plus, I think her plan to get rid of Detective Howard was a foolish one, as I said before. You know, how you going to tell your niece that a cop is a good friend to have, then turn around and have Detective Howard killed? Okay, this is a man who's been trying to get in front of a lot of these crimes committed by your son, all right? He even was pissed when he found out that Burke had went ahead and was trying to do a little digging, was talking to Juke and everything. Like, you know, he was like, look, if I can't trust you, I don't even want to work with you, and I'm going to tell the captain that. So this was the person that she needed on her side. They could have had like a little love-hate relationship or whatever, but at the end of the day, there was going to be some respect, hopefully. You know, it's especially, I believe, some respect from Detective Howard. Because Raq, she just hate the man. But I feel like off the strength of Kanan, he would have been doing everything he could to make sure that they got a pass, right? Like he said, within reason. All right, so if Raq was that smart, she would have saw that Detective Howard is better to her alive than dead. As a matter of fact, she should have realized that when he saved Lou at the hospital. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. Lou eventually woke up, guys, which I wasn't surprised. Plus, we got a lot of folks putting out spoilers every time we turn around, you know, just ruining the freaking story for everybody else. But anyway, let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.